Good.
So, your name is,
Hernando Vasco.
and then my name is Brian McGarty, the interviewer. Uh, your relationship to me is that he's my neighbor.
Yes, we are neighbors, we're friends.
And the place and date of the interview is in my neighbor's house, in front of my house.
Newberry Park, 619, Platino, California. Well, I don't know, this is good.
Yeah.
We're here.
All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you like the following questions about the 1960s, and like, could you like answer the questions like how you remember it?
Yes,
All right. So the question number one: how old were you when Kennedy was assassinated in 1963?
I was 10 years old.
Do you remember him? Like, do you remember anything about it?
Yes, he was good to Latin America. He had an organization where we would get like flour, cheese, oil, things through some help to all of the poor nations. I remember eating the cheese that he would send to my country. It was very good, like American cheese or cheddar or something like that.
Oh, really interesting.
Yeah, it was good. I might have cried when he got killed.
Oh, where were you when you heard about his assassination?
I was in Cali, Colombia.
Cali, Colombia, right? How did the news affect you?
Because I knew that he helped, I was sad.
Yeah.
On top, I always had this attraction towards the United States. And he came across as a good president.
Yeah.
So
He really did.
it was sad.
Yeah. Who do you think was responsible for the assassination? What was his or her motive?
There were a few things that might have caused his demise. One was he shared with Marilyn Monroe, he shared secrets that are kept top secret about UFOs and things like that nobody knows. And she was to open her mouth because they wouldn't take phone calls from her in the White House. It could have been that he wanted to stop the Vietnam War and the people that are in the army industry, the arm, the weapons, all that,
Yeah.
they are very powerful and they didn't want the business to end. So it might have been them. It might have been them. Then, somehow I believe CIA.
I believe
How
that
did
too. Yeah. Like
Well,
the
we're gonna
magic.
know. Nothing to do with Cuba because Castro liked him. He was likable.
Yeah. Like the magic bullet theory. Do you believe that? Where?
No. There were a bunch of people involved, usually in things that have to do with elimination of any kind of target. They don't send one or two guys; they send a bunch of guys.
In case he misses.
So in case he misses or he doesn't want to shoot,
Oh.
there are a bunch of others doing the same thing.
Yeah. So do they?
So how many people were involved? And people with badges, probably people who would get away easily.
That seems pretty yeah, like a reasonable answer. Did you serve in the Vietnam War, or do you know anyone who did?
I know people who did. I tried to, but then I was undocumented, so they wouldn't take me. And thank goodness because that war drove crazy a lot of people and, killed a lot of people
Yeah.
and a lot of people invalid, no legs, no
Yeah,
paraplegics because of the war. And then a lot of crazy people came out.
that is true.
And they still do
Mm-hmm.
from the area.
Yeah, some interviewers came and they said that you can't take you can take the soldier out of the war, but you can't take the war out of the soldier. Like the trauma is still there in their head. Yeah.
Sad. I know a friend who exhibits PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and he gets upset and all that stuff. And it's hard, he's my friend, and I know psychology, so I accept him for whatever he is in his experience and stuff like that, because he's hard. Not only what the war does to you, but what the same officers in the army do to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are mean. They come in, slap you just because you want to kill the motherfucker. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And nothing you can do. So
Yeah.
it's traumatic.
It's
The whole armed forces business is not good.
It's all money.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right.
Big, no. I know somebody 21 years in the army,
Mm-hmm.
in 2 years at a psychiatric facility. He wants to kill himself.
Oh.
And he says either you kill yourself or somebody kills you or you just go crazy. That's what happens with people who go to the army.
That's bad.
Bad experience.
Bad experience. Yeah. Did you ever watch news reports about Vietnam on television? If so, how did it affect your views on the war?
Entire programs I watch about the Vietnam War, and he kind of clarifies why the United States, for instance, didn't invade Cambodia when the enemy was there, why things were allowed to happen, why the war was kept going on and on and on.
Oh,
Because we got a lot of weapons to manufacture and a lot of clients to sell to.
yes.
So you find in war, whoever sells weapons here sells weapons to the other side,
Yeah.
or oil for the place or something. They are
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
business for them.
Business. What are your reactions to the following movements? Were you directly involved with any of them? The anti-war movement.
I was young. Right?
Oh, you were young, yeah. Like the civil rights movement. Did you see that like on television?
Yeah, I've seen that, but then I was a kid when that happened,
Yeah.
and I was here in the United States.
You were
It was
here.
not in my country where I was.
Oh, were you here when the equal rights for women, like the protests, like the women wanted their rights, like equal rights as men?
No, if you're talking about voting rights or stuff like that, that was way before me. Now about rights, still they fight,
Yeah,
equal
they
salary, they are not respected.
Yeah, that is.
Women, they are not. Give me a break.
Oh, or the counterculture, the hippie movement.
A little bit of I know about Woodstock, the concert at Woodstock. I know about the movement. I've been to San Francisco to what is it called, Ashcraft, whatever the street is,
Mm-hmm.
where the hippies. And I was kind of a different one. Probably they were more in touch with reality because they do LSD and acid things that bring you more to reality than the reality that we live. That is all,
Yeah,
we are trained to. Oh, I'm rich, and that doesn't matter to be happy.
Yes, that is true.
So they were peace, love.
Yeah.
They did fine.
Yes, alright.
Now nowadays, now it's different. Now you kids are different.
Yes.
You won't go through that. You can go in and have a weekend at, what was the name of the place where they just had something?
Coachella?
Coachella. You can go for a weekend, but that's it.
Yeah.
We're different.
Yeah. What events from the 1960s had the most effect on you?
The most 1960s. I remember when the Pope died.
Mm-hmm.
What Pope was that?
Oh,
Pierce, the one of those Pope. I was sad. I remember when Kennedy, I was sad. When his brother got killed, then it was kind of sad. But pretty much, I was very young,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at a country far away from here to be affected by things that people that were that age in this country were affected too, because everybody was a hippie. I mean, everybody wanted freedom and peace and love, and
Yes.
so.
I understand. What persons from the 1960s do you most admire? Is it Kennedy?
1960s.
Yeah.
Kennedy's, the Kennedy family.
The Kennedy family.
Yeah, they were changers of policy. They were a good family. They had a good family.
Yeah.
Probably the Kennedy family.
The Kennedy family. Okay. What was your favorite music group?
My favorite music group back then,
Mm-hmm.
60s, around that time. You see, I like Carlos Santana. See, there were others like Trini Lopez. And if I had a hammer, I hammer all the morning. I hammer all the morning. I hammer all the night. I hammer for my brothers, that kind of music,
Yeah.
that kind of rhythm. And there were a bunch of them, even Jose Feliciano, Light My Fire. There were
Yeah.
a bunch of guys who were, and then the Carpenters and all that. Like, music was kind of mellow. There was no heavy metal or that kind of no.
Yeah. It was all one.
It
like,
was all
song.
in a little bit of soul music. The black culture influenced great in music,
Like
beautiful
jazz.
music, jazz.
Yeah. Alright. So yeah. So, what was your oh no, do you have a favorite humorous memory from the 1960s?
Humorous.
Yeah. Not really.
Not really. We were very poor, and
Yeah.
nothing is happening in life because you have nowhere to go. Family don't have a car,
Mm-hmm.
don't have a farm. Friends are the family that are poor,
Oh.
so there's not really.
Nothing.
There's no TV, a little radio.
Oh yeah, that was.
So what do
pretty
you do?
rough.
Your brother kicks your butt. That happened often. No,
Yeah.
no fun.
All right. Is there a sad memory that stuck with you from the 1960s?
From the 1960s.
Yeah.
The sad memory that had nothing to do, usually good memories, sad memories, all of these bad memories, have a lot to do with the family. So my brother chose to go and live with his father, and I stayed with my mom, and my mom was crying because her son chose the father instead of her. So it was sad. My mom was a good lady, not very fortunate. I mean, she wouldn't get a job. It was hard to get a job. She had 2 kids by herself, living with my grandmother and my aunt. So we were poor.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty sad. At least you're here now.
Yeah, I remember, usually when I think about those times, I remember at night
Mm-hmm.
seeing the trucks, the 1960 trucks with the tent on the back,
Oh yeah.
coming in, and the lights, they had like 5 different light bulbs of different color. Oh, I love those trucks. I wanted one of those trucks. No, I never wished for those things. I have never wanted things except to live in this country. I have really never asked for things like I know my place in society.
Mm-hmm.
And then my brain, I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
There are people who are hoarders or something like that.
Who
In
do
all
that?
aspects.
Yes.
Want many girlfriends, or they want a lot of money. They want to own the world, and there's no
Yeah, and there's none.
no happiness there.
No happiness, yeah. Do you view the 1960s as a good time or a bad time in history?
1960 was a wonderful time because it brought change.
It did. It really did.
It brought equality, like for
Mhm.
blacks, women, stuff like that.
Yes.
It brought wonderful cars. They were nice cars, the 60s. Chevrolet, and those cars they were.
Yeah.
Beautiful
They're.
cars, yeah. It brought kind of the United, I would see the ships coming to the ports in my country with goods from the United States. Like the sneakers, chocolate bars, and things like that, the
Yeah.
blue jeans, things like that. So the 1960s was a time when in this nation and in my country, a lot of good things happened.
Oh.
A lot of wonderful things happened. A lot of change. The music, rock and roll, and all this
Yeah.
stuff that started.
It's very
They added to people more. A lot of people smoking weed, and when people smoke weed, they are kind of mellow.
Yes.
So it was a wonderful time. It was
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
It was nice.
It was probably better than the 70s. There was more work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the 70s, there were more people, less work.
Last word.
So
Yeah. More,
60s were good. Very good, except that, for instance, black people who live in those states or those cities where they were totally discriminated,
Mhm.
it was hard for them in the
It was.
60s because there was a change, but was not a change accepted.
Yeah.
Even nowadays, some black people are not welcome in places.
Yes, they are called names.
Yeah, so it's been hard. It started back then, but there was a change. It started like a movement, a change to change the world.
Yeah.
And look where we are.
I mean, from slavery to here.
From slavery to being a president of the United States.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Big
that's
change. Yeah.
major change. What impact or influence did the 1960s have on your country? Or I mean, you kind of answered that, right? Like.
Yeah, in my country, okay, good and bad. Good, the thing of the culture, the movies, all of this stuff, the music. Bad, like the businessmen,
Mm-hmm.
like the Dole, the Rockefeller, these people who have a lot of money invested in agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
would abuse the government through governments that would sell themselves for their own benefit, not for the benefit of the. For instance, if we grow bananas, and instead of selling them, let's say $1 the pound,
Yeah.
somebody decides to sell it for 25 cents a pound,
Oh.
and he's gonna take 20 cents to his pocket, and he's gonna give you 5 cents as a farmer.
No.
That's what the wealthy people of these people have done in these other nations, like my country, Colombia, Central America, a lot of those people. They have used the government, and they have kept the government of those who put up with the businesses transaction.
Yeah.
It's just money,
Money.
and they have a lot already.
Oh,
But it's still more money,
They never
and
get
they
tired
happy.
of it. How did your experiences in the 1960s affect your attitudes about life today?
It affected me in the sense that because I was exposed to these movies, wonderful movies, I wanted to come to this country. And my life has been very different in this country. From here, I've been able to, for instance, get a degree, go to Europe, see things, read things, be exposed to. Has changed my life completely.
Yeah.
I'm a happier dude now because of the things the change that came about. That if I would have stayed in my country, people are very different. For instance, they look at you, oh, that looks good, no. They look at the brand first.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a Nike. Oh, that's, what logo is that? Is that like a Cheyenne? They go, hello.
Oh, so it's, yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
This is very bad.
Alright, so now I just gotta come up with, so do you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yeah, the Cuban Missile Crisis was really scary
Yeah.
because we had atomic bombs. The Soviets who back up Cuba, they had atomic bombs. And President Kennedy took a tremendous risky decision on blocking Cuba to prevent the building
Yeah.
of missile sites there. So he had to take chances, and thank goodness nothing happened. But we could have ended disappearing.
Yeah. Do you remember the first man that landed on the moon?
Yeah, that was beautiful because we would see on this black and white TV, and we'd come out and look at the moon and, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome to have the technology to go to the moon, imagine.
Yeah.
Traveling to the stars.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Do you remember the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah, that was sad because he was a flag of freedom,
Yes.
equality. He represented the dreams of everybody. If the black American was discriminated, the poor Colombian, brown little guy would be discriminated.
Yes.
So we wanted equality.
Equality. Yes.
So he represented that, but was taken from us.
Yeah. Do you remember the first production of cars when they started coming?
Yeah, I remember the Model Ts, and I remember Jeeps
Jeeps.
in my country because it's mountainous.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of the hills and stuff. There's a lot of Jeeps. But the 1960 cars, they were perfect. Well made, very sturdy. They're very comfortable, beautiful, fast. They didn't even have seat belts, and nothing happened. No, it was good.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
Good time. Do you remember the Bay of Pigs invasion?
Bay of Pigs, I don't remember, but I know about it. How these freedom fighters
Yeah.
who wanted to free Cuba from Castro try to invade Cuba.
Yeah.
A lot of Cubans in exile did this. And whoever was supposed to support him, government of the United States,
Yeah.
didn't do it. So they didn't get any air support. They were left hanging. So they got killed. So that was like a treason that the government of the United States did to these invaders, or the CIA, or whoever promised them to help them. Left them hanging there,
That was pretty.
and they got killed.
Yeah.
Sad.
Sad. All right. Well.
Okay.